Warroad, Minnesota is a small town 6 miles south of our border with Canada. It's a town with only around 1,900 people, and it is the greatest hockey town in the United States. Warroad breathes hockey, and it's hard to know about Warroad without knowing about the town's claim to fame. Ten high school state championships and 5 Olympic gold medalists in a town with fewer than 2,000 people. Hockey is probably the fourth most important thing in Warroad, behind food, water, and shelter. Everybody in Warroad plays hockey, and they're known around the country for their favorite exploits and their favorite obsession. Warroad is a legendary town in the fabric of hockey, so remember Warroad, because you will notice how often this small town comes up again and again throughout our story. The only town that comes close to Warroad's prominence in the state of hockey is Eveleth. Eveleth is a small town like Warroad, coming in with a population of around 3,500 people. Like Warroad, the town's also got a few state championships to its name. The greatest high school hockey player in Minnesota's history, according to Vintage MN Hockey, 4-time state champion and Gopher legend John Mayasich, hails from Eveleth. I would like to highlight the 1948 edition of Eveleth Hockey. That team, led by a freshman John Mayasich, won their first of what would be 4 consecutive state championships after beating Warroad 8-2 in the championship game. Eveleth remains to this day the only team ever to win 4 consecutive state titles. Eveleth also happens to be home to the United States Hockey Hall of Fame. The Hall of Fame for the entirety of American hockey, just a few hours up north. It features incredible exhibits, including the puck Jack Hughes sent into the back of the net in overtime to beat Canada in this year's gold medal game at the Olympics. Warroad's TJ Oshie is featured prominently in the museum, which makes sense because he's one of the greatest American hockey players ever. The United States Hockey Hall of Fame Museum belongs in Eveleth because of the town's long history with hockey. History is incredibly important for high school hockey in Minnesota, and it's history that will be our first of 4 pillars that make up high school hockey in Minnesota. Before moving on, it is important to address 2 things. First, there's the class split. High school hockey in Minnesota is split into 2 classes, Class Single A and Class Double A. Before the split of 1992, every school played in the same division and there was 1 state championship awarded. Now, there are 2 state championships, 1 for each division. Class Single A is for schools with smaller populations, such as Warroad, Hermantown, and my hometown, Sartell Sabres. Class AA is for larger schools, such as Moorhead, Edina, and Minnetonka. Each class is broken down further into sections, of which there are 8 sections made up of anywhere from 8 to 11 teams within each class. We will focus mostly on Single A for the remainder of this video, but AA will be mentioned as it comes up. At the end of each regular season, section tournaments are organized and seeded based on the team's records within their section, as you see here in the 2025 Section 6 AA tournament. Each section tournament is a single elimination tournament where the winner is awarded a trip to the state tournament. Moorhead won the Section 6 AA tournament, so they were the sole team from that section invited to state. The state tournament is made up of 32 total boys and girls teams, split into each of the 2 classes. The state tournament is not entirely seeded based on record, but is decided by the Minnesota State High School League on a combination of record, schedule difficulty, and regular season results between the state tournament teams. Moorhead was the Class AA boys state champion, winning AA state alongside Hill Murray girls, while East Grand Forks boys and Dodge County girls each won state for Single A. The second topic we need to explain is girls hockey. I will seldom mention girls hockey throughout the remainder of this video. Girls hockey is exciting and intriguing in its own right, but due to how new it is and how small fan engagement unfortunately is for girls hockey, it is nearly impossible to give enough information showcasing the great hockey that these girls play. Teams that are as talented as Warroad and Moorhead are no stranger to playing their hockey here at the Grand Casino Arena in St. Paul, home of the Minnesota Wild NHL team. Grand Casino Arena is home to the state hockey tournament each year, and the tournament is practically a state holiday. For 4 days in early March, thousands of people get to watch the best youth hockey tournament in the world. Over 15,000 fans fill the stands at each game, and the waitlist for season tickets for the tournament is 12 years long. The fans love the game, and if you can't make every game in person, you can count on every game being broadcast on TVs all over Minnesota. The second pillar of hockey in Minnesota is the state tournament. Tradition is the third pillar of Minnesota hockey. Some schools are able to establish strong traditions over several years. Eveleth is the old guard in Minnesota hockey. Warroad is the modern-day Class A Titan of the North, while Edina is the despised cake-eating Double-A team from the cities. Not all traditions are created equal, but any team can create its own traditions through decades of development. Warroad and Edina especially have the best tradition you can be known for, winning. There is a dark side to tradition as well, however, and one that you will become very familiar with. Losing is common in sports, but choking is a special type of losing. Choking can take many forms: losing a nearly insurmountable lead, playing your worst in the biggest moment of your career, or losing to an opponent everybody thought you'd beat. It's brutal. Choking is a distinction that can haunt players and teams alike, and it just so happens that my Sartell Sabres have an all-too-comfortable relationship with choking. Sartell has seen it all. Just this season, Sartell experienced perhaps their greatest choke of all time. The Sabres began the season with high hopes, being moved down from Class AA to Single A due to having a small enough graduating class. This immediately put Sartell in prime position to win the state title. Unfortunately, choking reared its ugly head once again. As the 1 seed in Section 6 and the number 3 team in all of Class A, Sartell seemed to be gunning for its first state tournament appearance and perhaps first state title. After all, the Sabres were undefeated against Class Single A opponents, never giving up more than 2 goals in a game heading into the section championship. Sartell went on to lose 3-2 in overtime against an underdog Northern Lakes Lightning team in the section championship, 1 game away from state. Sartell just couldn't overcome their long-standing tradition of choking, showing why tradition is so resilient and why it is our third pillar. History, the state tournament, and tradition are 3 intertwined pieces that make up high school hockey in Minnesota. Now we're going to look at the 4th and final piece that sews everything together. For this final piece, we will once again take a drive up north to visit our old friends, the Warroad Warriors. Let's review. Warroad clearly has history: 5 Olympic gold medalists and 9 state championships heading into this year. The boys and girls teams have gone to state 28 times. They know what it's like to play at state. Their winning tradition is nearly unmatched in Minnesota hockey, only being approached by a few schools. Going into this season, the boys team was hoping to change history. The girls team had won all 5 of its championships since 2010, winning most recently in 2024. The boys team had not won a state title since being led by TJ Oshie to the 2005 state championship. Warroad's tradition of winning was feeling iffy. How can you be the best team in Class A and not win a championship in 20 years? Warroad had become the team that gets all the talent but can never finish the job. Year after year, the Warriors failed to get that 5th championship. TJ Oshie had gone on to college and played a 16-year career in the NHL in between state titles for the boys team, retiring in 2024 from the NHL. Warroad had its closest call to winning state in 2022 when they lost 3-2 to Hermantown in the title game. The Warriors lost in their section championship against eventual state champions East Grand Forks in 2025. The Warriors were hoping this year could finally be the year to break through. The Warriors entered this season ranked as the number 2 team in the state behind the Hibbing Blue Jackets, according to the Class A Guy website. In the regular season, their record was 19 wins, 5 losses, and 1 tie, good enough for the 7th best record in the state. Due to their strong section record, they are awarded the number 1 seed in the Section 8 tournament, 3 wins away from state. This part of our story is rather anticlimactic. In their 3 section tournament games, they beat Park Rapids, Thief River Falls, and Detroit Lakes by a combined score of 27-1. They dominated their way to the state tournament and received the 3 seed as a result. They kept on their hot streak in their quarterfinal matchup against the 6-seeded Northern Lakes Lightning, in which Warroad was able to take down the Lightning 5-0. This game felt like payback for Northern Lakes beating my Sartell Sabres. On the bottom right is the scoring summary presented by Star Tribune and Minnesota Hockey Hub. Warroad was now able to advance to a semifinal game against the 2-seeded Delano Tigers. In the semifinal, it was much of the same. They beat the 2-seed Delano 6-3 in the semifinals, and they were back in the state title game, looking to avenge the girls team who had lost in the title game on February 21st against Breck. This is the boys' first time in the state championship since that loss to Hermantown in 2022. Hibbing followed through with their preseason ranking as the number 1 team in the state, with the number 1 seed at the state tournament. They beat the 8-seeded Dodge County Wildcats 4-1 in the quarterfinals and the 4-seeded Matamidi Zephyrs 4-2 in the semifinals to reach the state championship. On Championship Saturday, the 3-seeded Warroad Warriors were playing the 1-seeded Hibbing Blue Jackets. These teams seem to be on a collision course all season, being ranked first and second in the state in the preseason rankings. But before talking about the Class A title game, we're going to skip ahead to later in the day where we're going to talk about the Class AA title game, which would take place between the 1-seeded Minnetonka Skippers and the 2-seeded Moorhead Spuds. That game was eerily similar in many ways to the Class A title game, and that both games ended in exciting fashion. This year's state championship weekend has now been dubbed the best in the over 80-year history of the state tournament. Moorhead was looking for their second title in a row after losing in their first 8 state title game appearances. Moorhead had skated past their choking ways of old and were now close to their second coronation as Kings of AA. They were led, after all, by Tyden Burgesson, who was awarded the Mr. Hockey Minnesota distinction, awarded to the best player each season in high school hockey in Minnesota. But it was not meant to be. Minnetonka would take a 4-1 lead into the third and final period. Moorhead was good, but Minnetonka would be too much for the Spuds. I mean, what 1 seed would choke a 3-goal lead in the state championship?
Trying to limit the cross crease pass. Ferguson, Joey Cullen.
Okay, well that's cute. Sophomore Joey Cullen got the lead down to 2, but Minnetonka is still the best team in the state. They just need to hold on and not make any more big mistakes. Okay, down to 6:45, and Minnetonka still leads by 2. The title is sitting right in front of the Skippers. But junior Zach Zimmerman makes it a 1-goal game. But this is not the time to panic. The Skippers beat Rosemount in overtime in the semifinals of state, so they know how to handle adversity. You are fine. Come on, boys. 45 seconds. Just hold on. And Zimmerman scores again to tie it up at 4 with 35 seconds to go. Okay, the Skippers are in trouble now, but don't fear. You still have overtime. Moorhead tried to blow a 4-goal lead in the state title game the year prior against Stillwater, but they hung on because of a third period goal from, Zach Zimmerman. So, yeah, you might be in trouble.
Good poke check there. Cullen then gets it. Warner. In. Shot. Score! Moorhead back to back.
Sophomore Evan Warner won it in overtime for Moorhead, solidifying Minnetonka's choke, but more importantly, keeping the state title in Moorhead. Northern Minnesota won 1 title, and it was about to win its second with either Warroad or Hibbing. The Warriors were looking to break their 21-year state champion drought and avenge the girls' team, while the Blue Jackets were trying to snap a 53-year drought of their own, winning their 3rd state title in the process. Thanks to Jeddas.League YouTube channel, we have video from the game saved on YouTube. Warroad's Connor Lund opened up the scoring just a minute into the game to give the Warriors an early lead. Hibbing would tie the game up via the stick of sophomore Whitaker Rewerts, before Avon Hontvent took the lead back for Warroad 45 seconds later. To make things worse for Hibbing, Warroad's star player, junior Gavin Anderson, would extend the Warriors' lead to 2 with 1 minute left in the second period. Warroad was up 2 goals with 1 period to play, 17 minutes away from their dream. But choking would come to play for Warroad, and it's 3-2. And it's 3-3. 4-3 Hibbing, their first lead of the game. After all they'd been through, and a do-or-die situation for Warroad, Gavin Anderson stepped up, scoring this goal with 46 seconds left in the game. This season would end on 1 goal in overtime between the 2 best teams in the state.
Ends up wide. Oohs and ahs from the crowd when you're in overtime. This is looking like 3-on-3. Jackson, Saunders, back to Jackson, backside score! It's Shogamy, it's Warroad, they're the champs!
In his final game, wearing the yellow and black, senior Ryan Shogamy won it for Warroad. In the post-game interview, he said the goal was a blur. Warroad achieved its destiny as state champions. Glory for Warroad, anguish for Hibbing. And that is Pillar 4, the fine line between winning and losing. One bounce here, one shot there. For kids from Moorhead and Warroad, these are some of the greatest moments of their lives. For kids from Minnetonka and Hibbing, these are some of the worst moments of their lives. For the kids from Hibbing, Minnetonka, Moorhead, and Warroad that took the ice on March 7th, this sheet of ice represented a culmination of their young lives. We saw them compete and give everything they had, and after all of that fight, they had nothing more to give. These are the scenes that are remembered forever. Glory and anguish represent the spirit of hockey and why high school hockey is so important in the state of Minnesota. Thanks for watching.
We were raised with a stick and a pair of blades. On the ice we cut our teeth. We took our knocks in the penalty box. Our mother was a referee. This sport was here before we came. It will be here when